Welcome back to CFB Nation. I'm your host, Nino Brown. I got my guy, bottom of the screen, you know him, Deep Fried Draft, Brian Bosage. And when you see us on the screen, you know the deal. It's the Garnet Roost. He's smiling. I'm smiling. How we doing tonight, bud?
Hey man, a good ass whooping cures all ills, right?
Absolutely.
I
And
mean,
that
it
was
was good to see us just a no doubter blowout game. Vanderbilt's bad. I said it last week. I thought they were worse than Jack State. Yeah, Jacksonville State beats that team by 10 points.
yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Like it's SEC, and that's like scraping the bottom of the bottom of the barrel. Oh man, we're smiling. So let's just get right into this rapid fire. I'm gonna throw another question on you. I'm gonna go right at it first before we get into this other one. This news just broke that Chip Kelly's gonna get fired after this USC game. Did you see that coming?
I didn't see Chip Kelly, but I mean they're struggling, man, and he's got a lot of talent on that team. They should not
Yeah,
be 6-4.
no.
So I get it, and I saw somebody mention it on Twitter, and I think we're going to talk about another firing here in a second. I think this is only going to happen more often once the playoff expands
Yeah.
because now there's no excuse. All you have to do is be one of the 12 best teams now, right? And
Yes.
you should be in that playoff. You're going to see a lot more teams with the transfer portal and the ability to turn that roster over. This is going to happen more often than not. Teams are going to start having to learn not to bid against themselves and give these coaches extensions when nobody else is trying to hire you. I'm looking at Mississippi State and Zach Arnett.
Right.
Why did you pay him $4 million? Wasn't nobody else paying him that?
Nope.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's rough. I like Chip Kelly, but he innovated an offense. Unfortunately, now everybody took it and does it better.
Yeah, modified it to a better product.
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
sucks for him.
The back-to-back losses to Arizona,
Yeah,
Arizona State. The way they lost was just
yeah.
no deals. Can't have it. All
Mhm.
right. Speaking of firing, Jimbo got the axe and $77 million as he walked out the door. Did you see that one coming?
Man, Ray Charles could see this coming, right? I mean, you could see him getting fired, and I'm still surprised that they did it. This all total is going to end up costing Texas A&M boosters or the school, whoever's paying this bill, probably upwards of 120 to 140 million dollars when it's all said and done, because they got to buy out the rest of his contract.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to buy out all of his assistants' contract. Then, if you're hiring anybody worth their weight, you're going to have to buy them out from whatever contract they're at, and then pay their assistants. This is going to cost you, like I said, 100. Now Texas A&M's got a lot of money.
Right.
I mean, they ain't got Harvard money, but I mean, they got a lot of money out there. And it's just wild to me to see that. I don't know. I'm anxious to see who their list of candidates that they bring in. I mean, Sam, we can talk about like Zach Arnett at Mississippi State as well. I honestly, after reading more into it, I mean, sorry, dude.
I had a feeling.
You kind of got some bad karma right out of the gate there. You just Mike Leach had handshake deals on extensions of some assistants there, and you just kind of shit all over that and sent them up the road. That's bad juju right out of the blocks, man.
Yeah.
And this is another thing right there that just shows schools can't make emotional hires, right?
Right.
And that's kind of what this feels like. Now, Arnett's going to be employed again really soon. I mean, like within 2 weeks of the season ending, because he is a stud defense coordinator.
Right.
And I can think of an opening that should come up that he should be
interested.
I'm not saying he should be interested in, but they should be interested in him. I think Lincoln Riley on the other coast over there also should be interested in him as well. Yeah. He's going to have bidders for sure as a defensive coordinator, but I don't think he gets another head coaching job, not for a long time.
No, listen, the quarterback over there, was it Will Rogers? He's like, God to them. They loved that kid. He could do no wrong. And the first order of business, outside of kind of shipping these assistants each other way, was he brought another quarterback as competition and said that this wasn't his guy. So everybody loved Will Rogers. Everybody was the fan, and you were already trying to shake it up right after. And that was
You have an entire offense based around air raid personnel.
yes.
Will Rogers was a hand-picked air raid quarterback.
Yeah.
He is probably setting every SEC record by the time he leaves.
Yep.
You know, and then you just we don't want the air raid here anymore, despite the fact that is,
we're gonna
like I
bring
said,
right in.
bad karma right out of the blocks, and you know it came crashing down on him quick.
Spencer Rattler ranks where in this quarterback class right now?
Right now, I have Spencer Rattler as QB 10 on my board. I'm going to say that's a mid-day 3 spot right now. I still think, there's a couple quarterbacks ahead that maybe they don't enter this draft class, kind of pushes him up a little bit. I think he ends up with a Senior Bowl invite.
Yes.
And I actually discovered something, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but
a nugget.
But I think if he is in this draft class, spoiler alert for what's coming up later, I think he's, like I said, a mid-day 3 pick with a chance to, move up with a good process.
I love it. Xavier Legette is ranked as blank all-time South Carolina wide receiver.
I didn't want to make this an impulse decision. I saw this question up there, so I pulled up a list of South Carolina's all-time wide receivers. I don't think people realize how good wide receivers been at the University of South Carolina. And Xavier Legette's only done it for 1 year in 1 game.
Right.
I don't think he's a top 10 receiver at South Carolina history all time.
Okay. I mean, there's some dudes.
There's some dudes.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got one guy should be in the NFL Hall of Fame, Sterling Sharp.
Right.
He's number 1. Then you've got Alshon Jeffrey ahead of him, right? Brian Edwards was a stud.
Oh, man.
He flailed out in the NFL, but he was a stud in college.
Dude, yeah, he was.
Kenny McKinley, I don't know if you remember him, but he was really good in college. Died tragically a few years back. Sidney Rice was a stud. Shi Smith was good. Pharaoh Cooper, great wide receiver. Deebo Samuel, didn't even get there with him. And then here's another guy that I don't even know how many people know he went to the University of South Carolina. But how much of a stud was he? Was Robert Brooks in Green Bay?
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
Robert Brooks is on this list. And this is not even factoring in guys like Bruce Ellington, Zola Davis, who was 5th all-time in South Carolina receiving yards because he was there during the Holtz era the late portion of the Holtz era, late Brad Davis, early. He was really good. Troy Williamson was a first-round pick. He was a one-trick pony, but he was a first-round pick.
Right.
So, I mean, they have had some great wide receivers. That's not even counting some more recent guys like, Demir Bird, Ace Sanders, Josh Vann. Yeah. I mean, they've had some good guys. Legette, as great as he has been this season, all-time at South Carolina, I can't put him in the top 10.
I forget about some of those. Robert Brooks. He was on the Packers with what, Freeman?
Mm-hmm.
That was the guy on the other side. Like he was before Driver.
Mm-hmm.
That was the wide receiver group before him. Yeah, he was a dude, man.
He played at South Carolina from 88 to 91.
Okay, yeah. So early 90s he was.
So he basically replaced Sterling Sharp as their number 1 wide receiver. Sharp left in 87, and then Robert Brooks came in 88.
And then after that was Donald Driver and Greg Jennings, right? That was the combo that came in.
I didn't even think of that. He replaced Sterling Sharp in Green Bay.
Yeah. Yeah, right. That's crazy. All right. Yeah. One more. And this one, I had to put it on there because we're coming to the bittersweet end. Sum up the season in one phrase.
Mildly disappointing.
Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that because we both had high expectations
I mean, their over under for wins this year was 6 or 6.5, depending on where you bet it. So they're probably going to finish the season slightly under that, right? So if they win out, they're going to have 6. If they win one of 2, they're going to have 5.
Right.
So it's slightly disappointing. I think if they lose these last 2 games, it goes from mildly disappointing to disappointing, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, 4 of your 6 losses are the top 25 teams.
I can't be mad at that. You know what I mean? Like
It's disappointing that you're not more competitive with those teams, right? Like Georgia, you get, but
right.
of those 4 games that they've lost, that was their most competitive.
Yeah.
Well, North Carolina as well, I guess, but
that was week 1, right?
Right. So
fully healthy
with Georgia, that was your of the 4 games that you've lost to top 25 teams. That was the best game you played.
They gave him hell for a whole half, like literally
for 2.5 quarters at least. Right?
Yeah. They were on it. I was super impressed. You hit me up, I hit you up, and you were like you had to say something because then after that it all went downhill. But yeah, I still have hope that we can squeak 6 and get a bowl. That's the hope right now.
I mean, that's the hope, right? I mean,
yeah.
I know South Carolina fans will be disappointed to play in Birmingham, but like I said, I'd be happy about it.
Hey, they'll be a little bit more disappointed if they're not in one at all. So you know what I mean.
Right. And I guess there's still an outside shot if they go 5-7 because there's not going to be enough bowl teams. I don't know where their APR ranking is.
Yeah, and Charlie Baker's a clown. Okay, I just want to put that out there. I know who Charlie Baker is very well because he was governor of Massachusetts for a long time. He's a clown. And him denying James Madison makes him even more of a clown. He might as well put the big red nose on it.
Have they officially closed the book on that, or is that their appeal was denied?
So he denied it, and then I think they sent an appeal. I don't know if the appeal has been denied, but I know his initial, ruling on it was he denied it. So just in general, like 18-3, like my man KT just put out a show about it. 18-3 in 2 years. I think they're ready. There's no transition period. Like Jacksonville State as well. Like, come on, this is stupid. I just don't get it.
South Carolina's APR is currently tied for 23rd. I don't know how many teams ahead of them on this list will finish 5-7. So I don't know.
So you tell me there's a chance, even if we don't win out. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna stay with my Lloyd Christmas, and we're gonna ride this one out till it's over. It's not over till it's over. It's that time again. The Hobble Watch here. It's not docked. It's just floating along in the lazy river, right?
Yeah, we're just cruising this week. 2 targets this week. 1 of 16. He had an early throw that he dropped again this week. They mostly seemed like they, used him as a decoy. Like they were sending him long and like clearing out because they threw a lot of underneath balls to Amarian Brown and Xavier Legette and some of the tight ends, so they're kind of clearing him out, using him to clear out the wood there. And so, I mean, it worked. It's Vanderbilt, I guess.
Yeah. All right. And for that point alone, shouldn't he have gotten more? I mean, Bima has been telling us for 2-3 weeks now. Oh, we're going to take the training wheels off. He's earned it. He's got more reps, good weeks of practice, blah, 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 blah. We have to find a way to get 2 targets. 2 against Vandy. Like, it wasn't like, hey, it was close. We had to make sure we had the you had the dub early. Like, there was – I don't get it.
Let's play devil's advocate here, though.
Okay.
So maybe we have taken the training wheels off because – you see him out there, he's blocking now. He's learning that part of the game, right? He's blocking downfield for the run game. He's blocking downfield for the receivers. I mean, it's not great that he's only seeing 2 targets and only has 1 catch for 16 yards, right? But you don't want to say you have to crawl before you can walk.
I get it. But like, this is week 11.
I know. It's
been crawling for a little bit now.
Yeah, I know. I want to see him with a full off season.
My biggest complaint is we aren't good this year. and he's not letting the youth get the I don't care if they're not mature enough. I don't care if they're not ready. They're not good. This is all the opportunity to get them ready for next year so we don't have to go through this same spiel again, right? And he just he kind of like puts his foot in the water, then he backs up a little bit. Puts his foot.
That's the real big hope if you can get these last 2 games and get to the bowl game, right? Because
Yeah.
you're going to have guys opt out.
Yeah.
So opt out of that bowl game like you did last year, so that you want to have those 15 practices, right? And that bowl game as essentially spring 1A to get guys like Harbor and Pup Howard and
Yes.
some of these other guys on the field more. So that's the other big key about getting these last 2 wins, not just to go to a bowl game, not just to beat Clemson, to get those extra practices, to get these guys ready. Because like if you get to that bowl game, does Rattler opt out? Maybe if he's gonna get that Senior Bowl invite and he's gonna be in the draft, he opts out. That's great, right? You've got 15 practices of Lenoris Sellers, and he starts in the bowl game.
Who's he been practicing throwing the ball to? Hobble, right? Like so, like let's
right.
You know.
So that's makes these next 2 games that much more important to get to that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Okay, I think this is going to be a more upbeat section of the show. The good, the bad, and the ugly from this Vandy game. Give me the good.
There's a lot of good this week, but nothing better than I put it. I don't know what the font size was. I put it in here. I bolded, underlined. No sacks allowed. 0 negative yardage plays against Vanderbilt. Finally.
1 pressure. They only allowed one pressure all game, dude. Like, that tells you how bad Vanderbilt is. That doesn't tell us how good we are. That tells you just how bad Vanderbilt is. But I'll take it because finally that offensive line looked like gold.
Yeah. Whole team performance this week.
Yeah.
Outgained Vanderbilt 487 yards to 234. I mean, Rattler was 28 of 36 for 351, threw 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. I'm going to come back to the interception because I didn't have a whole lot of bad to put in here. So that 1 interception I put down there in the bad column. This was his 8th career game over 300 yards at South Carolina. That ties him for 2nd most of all time at the school.
That's crazy.
But something I discovered this week that I didn't know. He's got another year of eligibility left.
Oh.
If he wants to come back.
Oh. Okay. What is it? The COVID year?
I think so. Everybody got a free year that year.
Right. And
he never redshirted.
Right.
So he's got an extra year if he wants it.
Wow.
And I know they would have him back.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
So has he had enough college? Yeah. I don't think even if he comes back next year, he's going to elevate himself that much more for the NFL, more than what he could do at the Senior Bowl and the Combine and Pro Day and stuff like that during the draft process. But I'm just throwing it out there that he could come back if he chose.
Nice little nugget, because for some reason, like I didn't think as soon as you said it, though, instantly the COVID year popped in my head because he didn't redshirt at all. So he has that, but like it's a little nugget. It's kind of a packed QB class this year too. So you never know, right?
You never know.
All right, let's keep it rolling with the good.
I don't know if everybody saw that run by Mario Anderson. I tweeted it out during the game. I know you did. What a run. It looked like he was bottled up, about 1 yard beyond the line of scrimmage, and then he just comes out of there and just leaves everybody except one person. But a 72-yard run, touchdown, 9 carries, 102 yards. I tweeted out, and I'm not being hyperbolic about this at all. He's going to enter when I do my summer rankings of positions, he'll be in my top 5 running backs for the 2025 NFL draft. Because although he is eligible this year, I don't think he's coming out. I think he'll be back in South Carolina next year. I'll have him as a top 5, but
yeah,
I sent you this.
Yeah.
Nick Harbor, when I was talking about him blocking earlier, this man is Mario Anderson's running full speed away from everybody. Nick Harbor is in a jog, and he's keeping pace with Anderson all the way down the field.
Mario Anderson is running like someone's trying to take his life. Okay, and it looked like Harbor was just like, he's like talking to him as he's going along, like edging him on, looking back, and he's
know who Nick Harbor runs like, and if you look at the size profile, it makes sense. Watch how Usain Bolt runs.
Yo, yes,
that's upright. Who he runs like, upright, and just it doesn't look like he's running faster than cheetahs.
Right.
But he is.
He takes up like 3 yards in a stride.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
He's a long strider for sure. That's why I wonder if his 40 will be like
stupid
feds. Yeah. We'll see that in a couple of years.
Okay.
Officially. But yeah, that was fun.
We talked about the wide receivers, but let's talk about some more good, because there's been a lot of bad for a lot of weeks. So I want all the good.
All right. Trey Knox didn't play this way. He was dressed out, but they didn't need him. Right? It didn't. Obviously, it didn't look like that. So let's get him fully healthy. He's back this week, by the way. Beamer said, good to go. Trey Knox this week. He will play. So they will need him this week.
I love it.
But Josh Simon had a big day. 6 catches, 65 yards. He blocked well. He caught the ball well. You know, ran some really good routes. Didn't get in the end zone, but I thought Josh Simon had a big day as well.
2 weeks, right? Back to back?
2 weeks back to back for Simon, because Knox got hurt in the game last week against Jack State. Xavier Legette, we talked about him a little bit earlier, goes over 1,000 yards receiving on the season. He's only the 5th Gamecock to ever do so. We mentioned all these guys already, but Sterling Sharp, Pharaoh Cooper, Alshon Jeffrey, who has the school record, which Legette, I think, will get to second.
Okay.
For yards in a season. They would have to play in a bowl game for him to sniff Alshon Jeffrey, right? Because he's at like 1,000 something this season. Jeffrey's got like 1,560, I think is the single season record. So he would have to have 3 big games, which is very possible for him to close out with to get the school record. Sidney Rice also did it. He did it twice.
He was so underrated. Yeah. So underrated. Like
he was good in the NFL too.
He should have been so much better. Like he just fell on a team. Like he went to Minnesota, right?
Yeah, he went originally drafted Minnesota, then went up to Seattle. He had some good seasons, but he stayed in a lot.
Yeah.
So
so those 5, rank those 5 in order for you.
Those 5, including Legette.
Yes.
Well, you have to have Sterling Sharp first.
Okay.
Right. Just because of his total impact on, I mean, he's got his jersey retired at the school for a reason, right?
Yeah. Yes.
The other player on this list has to be second, who also has his jersey retired at the school, and that's Alshon Jeffrey. So he's second to me. I would probably put Rice third, Pharaoh Cooper fourth, just because he had a much large, I mean, Legette's had a big special teams impact. Pharaoh Cooper had a larger one, and then I would put Legette fifth. But I think it's close with him and Cooper.
Okay. All right. Let's keep it rolling.
This was easily the best defensive performance of the season.
Oh, yeah, my guy went off again.
Yeah, I'm not saving Clayton White's job here, but this was a great performance. And your guy, like you said, Debo Williams, 11 tackles in this game. He's now up to 49 on the season, 25 solo, and that's just in the last 4 weeks, right?
Yeah, that's just
Bam Martin Scott is starting to come along, right?
Mm-hmm.
Starting to have a big impact as a rush linebacker, and in pursuit. 13 tackles, 7 solo this week, 1 sack. As a team, they had 8 pass breakups.
Where's that been?
Tonka Hemingway had 3.
Yeah, the big guy, right? Like, come
on. Another great week for Boogie Huntley, and this includes the touchdown.
I've been saying it for. Where has this been? Where is this heavy package? They struggled in the red zone. This should have been implemented at the beginning of the year.
I agree. And I think they realized I think this became much more of a thing once they had no reliable center, and we're going to get to that in the part of the bad later. Because now you can't, and because it's already happened, right? They were down with fourth or they had a short yardage at the 1 yard line, and Gargiulo bowled a ball back to.
Oh yeah.
And they lost like 6 yards, ended up having to kick a field goal. I believe it may have been a turnover on downs. I can't remember. It was a bad situation. And I think after that, they realized, hey, we've got to come under center on these 1 to 2 to go inside the 5 yard line type deals. We finally got a special teams TD. We haven't had one all year. They had like 5 or 6 last year. So Beamer ball back this week. Keenan Nelson blocked a punt, then picked it up and ran it back. I was watching this game, and the long snapper for Vanderbilt has to be one of the worst I've ever seen at an SEC level. Like, his snaps were going wide and slow the entire game, and I'm like, they're going to get one of these before this game's over with. I mean, the guy punted like 12 times. I'm like, they're gonna get to one of these, and they finally did. I think it was in the third quarter.
Yeah, it was midway through the third. They got the block there.
And the last player we're going to talk about is you love this guy. I'm starting to love this guy. The Carolina fan base adores this guy, and so does his teammates. And you can tell that he is, since he's been on campus in January, he enrolled early, they have fallen in love with Lenoris Sellers, the quarterback. He's earned the backup quarterback spot. That wasn't his at the beginning of the season. That was Luke Doty.
Yep.
He earned this through practice, and he comes in garbage time and just on a 3rd and long, right? They were running the clock out. Yeah. They ran somebody named Dunn. I don't even know who he is. He had 2 carries for like 4 yards. So it's like 3rd and 6, and Sellers just sweeps to the right, bounces off a dude, and just leaves everybody.
Yep.
And special. It's just he's fun. Like I said, you could see like videos on the sideline of the team just going ape shit when he scores.
They were going nuts.
Nino's sending me his t-shirt line. I'm not buying one, but
QB16, bro. I'm getting it. I'm gonna have it on.
You're gonna get the goggles with the number. I know you are. I knew you were.
I got to.
Last thing I want to talk about is the crowd, the fans at that game. It was raining the entire game. It wasn't a heavy rain, but it was like a light rain. This was their 3rd straight game with an 11 a.m. kickoff, 2nd straight at home. And they had 80K in there loud the entire game. It was awesome. And, you know, I'll say this about their fan base. They're a loyal base. Even when they suck.
Yeah.
There's 80K in there every week.
Yeah.
And you know how loud it's going to be in that place Saturday night. Now they've got back-to-back games to close this season at home at night.
Let's go.
That place is going to be wild this week and next week.
I can't wait. He's going to go out with a bang, I hope. Okay. Take a second. Let's breathe a little bit. That was a lot of good. I don't know.
A lot of good. We're not used to that segment being that long.
Yeah. Let's get this. This is going to be a quick run through.
Quick run through. Not a lot of bad and ugly this week.
Let's talk the bad real quick.
All right. I mentioned Rattler's interception. It was bad. I mean, that was one of his might be his worst throw he's made all season. And that was really the only bad play they had on offense the entire game. That was Rattler's 7th interception on the season. 4 of them have incidentally come on passes 20 yards down the field. 2 outside to the left, 2 down the middle. One of them was like just a desperation heave, I think, against Georgia. You know, so this was the only one, maybe another one that I thought were just gross.
Like, why'd you do that? Don't do that one. Don't do that. Yeah, you wanted that back as soon as it left his hand. He was like, nope. I can't complain. He looked great. That one bad pass, they didn't even get points off the turnover, so I don't even care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just like a punt.
Drops are still an issue.
Well, it was wet.
It was wet this week, but it was still, man. It was
3. Was it 3? I think it was
at least. It seemed like more.
Yeah.
it's still an issue. It always seems like more to me than it ends up being. But yes, the rain was an issue this week, but still, it wasn't raining last week.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm trying to be friendly about it, but yeah, you're
And
right.
finally, and I kind of hinted at it earlier, Nick Gargiulo is a solid guard,
Yes.
right? I'm not saying he's good. He's solid. He's not a center at all. And he was pressed over there because they got nobody else. And you can tell he's not comfortable. He's not comfortable there, but it's all they got. His snaps are a problem. It seems like once a week he's rolling one back to Rattler or throwing it to the left side of him or whatever, and it's just killing it. They're drive killers.
Yeah, he slides the ball across the
right.
grass. He doesn't even pick it up or nothing. It's terrible.
It's an issue, like I said, and it's something hopefully that they'll get. I mean, obviously they'll get it straightened out when they get
play that position next year.
He's not going to play that position if he's even here next year.
Right.
So he may be moving on to the NFL. So he's probably not going to be here. Two, the guy who was originally supposed to be there will probably be back.
Right.
So.
Exactly. I agree with you. Yeah, you can't be bowling out there. We need you to snap the ball, not glide it over. All right, give me the ugly, and we kind of touched on it a little bit, but go ahead.
Yeah. The only really ugly thing here is that, or very early on in the game, Juju McDowell broke his collarbone.
Right.
And he's out for the year. DK Joyner is likely out for the season.
Yeah.
He can maybe come back if they get to a bowl. He may be able to play then.
I saw the post, like the "Thank you for everything" post from South Carolina on social media.
It seems like he's not coming back.
Yeah.
So you're down to 2 scholarship running backs on the roster. That's it.
Where did Bradley Dunn come from?
I'm assuming a walk-on.
He's a junior, so like it's like
I assume he's a walk-on.
Yeah, I mean,
or a priority. He was a priority. Well, I don't know. He's not a scholarship running back.
DJ's the only scholarship one, right?
Right. So you've got Mario Anderson
and DJ,
who hopefully he's got the cardio going this week. Mario Anderson does.
Yeah, right.
And Jay Braswell.
Yeah.
Is it. Now, Braswell is a true freshman, 5'11", 204. Rushing yards weren't great this week, 5 carries, 4 yards, but he did have one big catch and run for like 20 plus.
Right.
That set up a touchdown. So maybe, he's obviously going to get game plan more this week.
Yeah, you have no choice.
So he's going to get McDowell's snaps this week.
Unless Mario's going to be out there with an oxygen tank the whole game.
Now, I recall they had another freshman running back in this class, but he may be hurt.
I don't know if he's hurt or if he's redshirted, because I haven't seen him at all. And I don't know if he wants to burn that. You know how these kids are nowadays.
Well, I don't know. But Bradley Dunn was the other guy whose name I couldn't remember earlier. 3 carries, 8 yards. Yeah, he ain't it.
No.
So
no.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that if they do any Wildcat this week, or don't be surprised if Luke Doty isn't getting some snaps back there just out of necessity.
Yeah, you're gonna get a breather. You can't let Mario get 25. Yeah. He'll be dead.
So just keep an eye on that, on who's going to be that third guy that gets carries. Maybe you put in some more
Norris.
Maybe, but I was also thinking along the lines of, because we haven't seen a whole lot of like jet sweeps, motions, the pop pass. We haven't seen a whole lot of that from Loggins this year. So maybe they start utilizing some more of that this week to kind of, basically become an extension of the run game.
Yeah, get Nicholas Hopper and some screens, with the speed. Hey. All right. Let's get to this quick segment here of the recruiting roundup.
Yeah, I'm just going to run through these because I'm not sure. I just left this blank. You added this stuff in this week. I'm just going to run through this really quick. Chandler Jordan, the number 40 ranked safety in the class of 2025, 3-star recruit out of North Gwinnett High School, 10 offers. He's including South Carolina, Auburn, and Tennessee. Michigan State's got a committed running back, Anthony Carey, made the trip up from Florida this past Saturday. Watched South Carolina. Carey's the number 20 ranked running back in the class of 24. Took an official to NC State earlier in the month. South Carolina hosted him for an unofficial visit this week. Shantwan Harkless, a 2024 linebacker from South Florence High School in South Carolina, was in attendance for the Vanderbilt game. He was high school teammates with Lenore Sellers. I would anticipate he would be a priority walk-on.
Yeah.
Probably. He's rated as a 2-star player. So that, I think that's probably what that would be. And 2026 wide receiver, Stone Furry, Gaffney High School in South Carolina, also in attendance with multiple teammates of his. That's I want to say Gaffney is where Sidney Rice came from.
I believe so. I'm
yeah.
almost positive. Yeah. Local boy. So,
yeah.
All right. I'm going to make my segment quick. I'm going to talk about my guy, because he finally was a Pup Howard sighting in this one. He finally got some significant snaps. 29 snaps in the game against Vanderbilt, which tells you how bad Vanderbilt is, because he couldn't get 5 snaps the last 3 weeks. But he did end up with a 70.4 PFF pressure grade. So it's nice to see that they gave him snaps and they put him in a position to kind of do well. Right?
I saw him in the first half on defense. I think they're starting to rotate those guys in and out a lot more with Bam Martin Scott. I know, right? With Stone Blanton, Debo, Pup Howard, and Bam Martin Scott.
Yeah.
They're starting to rotate these guys around, trying to keep them fresh.
Yeah.
Makes sense, right?
It's working. It's working.
It's working.
Yeah.
Last couple of weeks, you played a lot better. I talked about Gargiulo, but a 78.5 PFF grade this week. Like I said, Vanderbilt had no pressures, or 1 pressure, no sacks, no negative plays. The offensive line grade should have been good, right?
Three of them over PFF grade of 81.
Babalade, Ja'Kai Moore, Vershawn Lee, all over 81. Gargiulo, 78.5.
36. We're at 36.
Still in play. We're at 36, so we need 5 more to hit the over.
Yeah. I'll be happy if it stays under. I would
love it. I would love it. Yeah, I'm not rooting for Rattler to get sacked 5 more times in the next 2 weeks.
No,
but Clemson's going to come hard. They've got several NFL guys on that front.
Yeah.
So does Kentucky, which we're going to talk about in a second.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes.
I'm just happy that finally my guy's getting a little bit of time. There was no Kilgore in this game. Is he hurt?
He didn't have a snap?
Not a single
He
snap.
returned punts.
He didn't have any defensive snaps.
Really? He was returning punts. So
yeah, I checked, because after last week, I was wondering what was going to happen, because he got burnt a little bit. But they put him in that position to get smoked. He can't be in the nickel like that.
Yeah. So maybe maybe it also was kind of dictated with the Vanderbilt offense too.
Right.
So you're not really needing the kind of dictated away from him.
Yeah. All right, let's get into look ahead at this Kentucky game.
I mean, Kentucky's also got to be disappointed with how this season's gone, right?
Yeah.
You bring back Liam Cohen, the great savior on offense, right, as offensive coordinator, and they've not been good outside of 1 player, right?
Yeah.
So Wildcats 6-4 on the year. They're 3-4 in the SEC. They started 5-0 against a bunch of scrubs.
Yeah.
Ran up to a 5-0 record, but they've lost 4 of the last 5. They've been blown out by any team they played of substance. Like Georgia blew them out. Tennessee is the only one of those games they played close.
Yeah.
Missouri blew them out. And was it LSU? Blew them out.
Smoked.
Yeah. Devin Leary comes over from NC State. Was an NFL prospect at one time, right? There was people had him in first rounds of mock drafts.
Yeah.
That is not the case anymore. He is not good.
I was told he was better than Will Levis.
I didn't say that.
Not you. I was told this by many. And then he comes over in this Liam Cohen offense, and he's only been sacked 13 times. Will got sacked 41 last year.
Yeah, I've said a lot of things about Will Levis, but that wasn't one of them. He's only completing 58% of his passes, got a 19-8 touchdown interception ratio. You got to note in here, this is his worst season in his collegiate career where he wasn't injured.
Yes. Every statistical category, the worst.
That's wild to me. The star of this team, offensive, defensively, whatever, is running back Ray Davis.
Yeah.
And this has to be the focal point of the South Carolina's defense. Clayton White and them, they have to make Kentucky one-dimensional, because if they can slow Ray Davis down, they don't have to stop him.
No,
slow him down. You can win the game if Devin Leary's got to beat you, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that's the key here, but he's averaging 6 yards a carry. He's got almost 1,200 scrimmage yards on the year, 16 touchdowns. He's got breakaway speed.
Oh.
He runs with power. He can catch the football. He's a stud. Could be one of the top 5 running backs in this draft class. I think he's got a shot at going on day 2.
Okay.
I like Ray Davis a lot, man. He's a very good runner. They've got a couple wide receivers, Dane Key, Tavion Robinson, averaging over 14 yards a catch. Barry and Brown is a all-purpose player, 34 catches for 361 on the year. He's also averaging 27 yards a kick return. He's got a TD there and has 3 punt returns on the year where he averaged 17 per. So that's a big weapon there for Kentucky. Only allowing 13 sacks this year, but their offensive line, am I crazy to think that they can maybe not the sacks, but at least pressures?
Yeah, I'm with it. I thought the same thing, because I watch them and I'm like, man, Leary's like always moving in the pocket, but they only got sacked 13 times. They definitely some holes in that line, and we can expose for sure.
Yeah, they've got a solid pass rush led by Trevin Wallace. He's got 6.5 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks. Deion Walker, 8.5 for loss, 4.5 sacks. JJ Weaver not having productively his best season, but I think he's the best NFL prospect of those 3 players. A couple of interior guys that I think are going to be fun rotational guys at the next level: Josiah Hayes, Octavius Oxendown, which is just a fun name to say.
Yeah,
but he's fun. You pointed out last week to me off the air, their safety, their center fielder, if you will, Maxwell Hairston, 5 interceptions on the year. You know he's looking for one of them deep Rattler throws to go off target. Andrew Phillips, I think, is a draftable prospect at corner. A guy who I projected to play in the Senior Bowl when I did my predictions before I knew underclassmen could play in the game. Derek Jackson, their top linebacker, has 61 tackles on the year, 3.5 for loss.
I'm a Kentucky guy, and I don't think that South Carolina has anything to fear in this game whatsoever. If they play mistake-free ball, right? That's the thing. Don't give teams opportunities. If they play mistake-free ball, even with all of the injuries in the running back department, I don't see how this game is close. I think multiple score victory in the end is what I see.
I mean, I hope so. I really do.
Well, let's just segue right into it. Let's get the prediction. What's your score here for this game?
All right, Kentucky currently right now is a 1.5 favorite. That's down from 2 points yesterday. So the line coming towards South Carolina a little bit. I think South Carolina wins this game. I do. I feel like they've got a lot of momentum coming off last week. And what we haven't talked about is, who did Kentucky play last week?
Oh, why am I drawing a blank right now?
Alabama.
Oh, yes. And they got embarrassed.
And teams that play Alabama the next week, they are beat to shit.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Physically, you get beat up when you play Alabama. When you play Georgia, the week after that,
done.
You're down a little bit. So I think South Carolina gets them. I think they get a touchdown. I think they're up maybe 10 or so late and hold on to win 31-27.
Oh, you got much closer than me. Much closer. I'm going to go 35-20 South Carolina. It's a night game, right?
Right. Sandstorm going to be kicking.
That's what I'm saying. Rattler's, whether he comes back or not, he's going to want to end this year at home. It's some good games. Rattler's a better prospect than Devin Leary. He's a better QB than Devin Leary. Give me the big score, 35-20. Like I said, two-score victory, and I think we're going to see my guy at the bottom of the screen smoking cigars in the locker room once again. All right.
Yeah, I hope so, man.
I think I have a good feeling in my belly. What's warm in my belly? I feel like when we return again this time next week, we're gonna be some happy guys, and it's gonna be a more positive show once again. Um, I'm your host, Nino Brown. That's my guy Brian Bosage at Deep Fried Draft. This is CFB Nation. It's the Garnet Roost. You guys know the deal. We'll be back again next week. Take it easy.